far we have studied the parts of a flower that are involved in sexual reproduction. Let us now go to the process. In the beginning I was telling you that sexual reproduction in flowering plants has two processes occurring in a sequence, namely pollination and fertilization. Let us now study about pollination. What is pollination? It is the process involving transfer of pollen grains from the anther of a flower to the stigma of a flower. So pollination is defined as transfer of pollen grains from anther of a flower to stigma of a flower. So here anther is the male reproductive part, stigma is a part of the female reproductive structure. Pollen grains produced in the anther are transferred to the stigma of the flower. The transfer of pollen grains may take place from the anther of a flower to the stigma of the same flower or to the stigma of another flower. Therefore, pollination is of two types. One is called self-pollination. Self-pollination or autogamy. In self-pollination, the transfer of pollen grains will be taking place from the anther to the stigma of the same flower. Transfer of pollen grains will be taking place from the anther to the stigma of the same flower. Whereas in cross pollination, also called allogamy. Here transfer of pollen grains will be taking place from anther to stigma of not the same flower but another flower. When we say another flower, there are two possibilities here. This another flower may be found in the same plant, or it may be found in another plant of the same species. So if the transfer of pollen grains is taking place from the anther to the stigma of another flower in the same plant, it is called gytenogamy. If the transfer is taking place from the anther of a flower to the stigma of another flower found in another plant of the same species, then it is called xenogamy. Self-pollination, autogamy, anther to stigma of the same flower. Cross-pollination, allogamy, anther to stigma of another flower. If it is in the another flower in the same plant, it is called gytenogamy. Another flower in another plant of the same species, then it is called xenogamy.